No. Foul before the shot attempt. Charge to Miller. And their 4th team foul. Knicks already over the limit.
Confidence building move for John Starks.
And a wet spot on the floor being taken care of by one of the ball boys. Every possession so significant here. Reggie Miller scoring Indiana's last 9 points. The inbounds by Smith thrown away. Bad pass from Charles Smith. His decision with 5:16 left in the 4th. Ewing playing with 5. Rick Smith's on the floor. He has 3 fouls. The Knicks hit 3 of the first 6 here in the 4th. They missed their last 4. Meanwhile, Reggie Miller has exploded. He has brought the Pacers back. They were down by as many as 16. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Mitchell rebounded by Starks. Leading Ewing, not a good idea.
Oh, you saw that coming. Starks breaking down decision-wise on a play like that. I mean, there's just no way. If Ewing gets the ball, he's got to take 2 dribbles to get to the basket. And what are the percentages of success there?
Well, 2 bad plays by the Knicks. Smith on the inbounds, firing it away. 3rd turnover by the Knicks in the quarter. 17 in all. Mason with the steal. Anthony Mason able to pick off that entry pass. The Knicks' last 3 possessions resulted in turnovers. They are clinging to a 3-point lead. Oakley from Starks, yes, and it counts. Charles Oakley did a terrific job in handling the ball. It was thrown strong by Starks. He was able to make the catch and take it to the hoop.
Another look at that play. Starks with his head up, looking for people, draws the attention. Oakley rolls his way in. Every play for both teams, good or bad, seems to be gigantic now. What pressure.
Foul on Antonio Davis is 4. Charles Oakley seeking his 19th point. And you can see he has had success on the line of the 4th quarter. Not this time. Knicks lead 81-76. We're approaching 4 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. The Knicks trying to hang on to extend their season. Miller, traveling violation.
Reggie Miller with his quickness does skip sometimes, and he got caught on the receiving part of that pass.
Hopper handling against Jackson. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Starks, John Starks firing it up. And knocked out of bounds by the Knicks.
Oakley with good position, just couldn't control that somewhat wild layup attempt by Starks.
3:45 remaining. 4th quarter. The Knicks 81, the Pacers 76. Once again, tense moments as this game winds down. Jackson for Antonio Davis. Ewing rebounds. Indiana's had the opportunities, not able to take advantage.
Once they get a shot at giving the ball to Smits and it doesn't work, they go away from him. They don't come back to him again. They allow him to be out of the play.
Shot clock at 6. Starks for 3. Yes! So John Starks continuing the usual profile. The personality of John Starks, out of control, come back, take the shot, hit the shot, and the Knicks lead by 8. He threw the ball away. Wow.
The official, Jack Neese, pretty tight on that.
Oh, that's a critical call.
Take a look at it now. Reggie gets that basketball. Official sees the extra step. Reggie Miller trying to escape the defense in frustration, slams that ball down, draws the technical.
Spike Lee enjoying it because the travel occurred right in front of him. And then Reggie hit with the technical for tossing the ball away in anger. And the Knicks now lead 85-79 with possession with 2:20 to go in this fourth quarter. Look out. Hopper gives it right back. He was trying to exchange with Mason, and it's a double dribble.
Oh, the moment Derek Harper should rise. That one hurts.
Derek usually so dependable, but we've seen a palming violation and a double dribble picked up by Hopper.
Once again, the Pacers trying to get Reggie Miller free off a pick. Elbow by Smits. And that hurt Mason.
Yeah, Anthony Mason. So rare to see him in pain. He's trying to work it out.
It's like the left ankle. It's a rare sight to see this example of strength hurt at all.
Foul number 4 on Smits. And Anthony Mason will walk it off. 2:07 remaining in the fourth. The Knicks with the ball. They lead by 6 points. Hopper handling against Jackson. Starks played by Miller. Ewing with 10 on the shot clock. Ewing, yes! Nice move by Patrick Ewing, rolling to the hoop on Smits. And the Knicks now lead 87-79. Ewing thought Indiana was calling for time, and he was leisurely making his way down the court, and I can understand that. It was indicated they were calling for timeout, and then apparently Indiana tried to fast break on the Knicks, claiming there was no timeout call. And finally, Dick Pavetta and Joe Crawford made the call. It's a 20-second timeout.
Well, the Knicks go to Patrick, leave him some room to run, and run he does with a very difficult execution that was perfect. And Patrick feeds on that scoreboard and enjoys the sight of now an 8-point lead for the Knicks with 1 minute and 46 seconds left.
Been a very smart game played by Patrick Ewing. Stayed out of foul trouble early, picked up a couple late. His offense has picked up despite the sore calves. He's come back, bounced back from the 8 for 21 the other night. People will only remember the game-winning shot, but he did not shoot the ball well throughout. Here's Jackson for 3. Mark Jackson keeping Indiana alive. 87-82 Knicks. 1 minute 35 to go in the fourth quarter. The Knicks and the Pacers have certainly been down this road before in this series. Ewing with a fadeaway. Rebounded by McKee. Here's Miller looking for the 3. And pops it to Jackson. McKee for 3. Rebounded by Ewing. Patrick Ewing controlling the boards. That his 14th rebound. The Knicks, I would think, would want to take as much time with the shot clock as they can.
No question, Marv, but recognize opportunity at the right moment.
8 on the 24. 50 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Now Ewing looks for the move. Recovered by Oakley, and time runs out. 24-second violation.
The Knicks don't like to do it the easy way. Anybody who's followed this team knows it. It's excruciating.
Byron Scott checking back in. Larry Brown looking for some long-range shooting. Antonio Davis will sit down. 45 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Knicks 87. The Pacers 82. Jackson being played by Mason. Miller floating the baseline. It goes the other way to Scott. Not able to hit. Rebound Oakley. 30 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter as Starks is held by Miller.
Well, the Pacers continue to go to Reggie Miller every time down court. I thought that maybe Larry Brown brought Byron Scott in as a diversion, but yet they went to him. But you know, every time down from here on, it's going to be Reggie or Smits.
Both teams over the foul limit. John Starks, who has not had success at the line, will shoot 2. He's 2 for 4 here tonight. John Starks, one of the Knicks' better foul shooters in recent seasons, tailing off in the playoffs, first against the Cavaliers and then against the Pacers, but hits a significant free throw right here.
Well, in that Game 1 madness, John Starks missed 2, but there was craziness going on. Here, it's a much different environment with the Knicks in control.
And the crowd beginning to file out with 28 seconds remaining and a 6-point lead. Starks hits on both. The Knicks 89, the Pacers 82, with 28 and 1/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter.
Okay.
Gutsy performance by the Knicks with once again the season on the line. And they lead by 7 with 28 seconds remaining. And the key will throw it in. Looking for the quick three. Miller unleashes from way out. And the rebound handled by Mason. Joe Crawford with the indication that a foul was called on Antonio Davis.
I can't believe the distance that Reggie Miller took that three from, and he almost made it.
The Knicks trying to keep it within in terms of the celebration. They have been hearing it pretty good from behind the bench here at Market Square. Certainly the Pacers received the same treatment back in New York. Knicks now lead 90-82. Haywood Workman is back. So this one is headed to a 7th and final game at the Garden. Crowd has been filing out the last minute. Anthony Mason hitting his free throws. Knicks lead 91-82. Workman with a driving hook and handled by Ewing. And then Mason on the recovery, and he's fouled by Scott. We're down to 13 seconds to go.
What a series. Game 1, Reggie Miller says we're thinking sweep after that opening game dramatic win. And the action continued, and all of the numbers that poured out after the 3-1 start by the Pacers said that only 4 teams have rallied from a 3-1 deficit in the playoffs. The Knicks now trying to become the 5th. The last team to do it in 1981 in the conference finals. The Boston Celtics over Philadelphia.
I think Spike has taken over the sideline. You get the sense that the confidence has returned. He was taking a verbal pounding earlier. He is in charge here.
Well, if he didn't expect a verbal pounding, he'd be very surprised.
Here's Miller teeing up for the 3. And that will wrap it. A 10-point Knick lead, a dramatic victory for the New York Knicks here at Market Square Arena.
Patrick Ewing demonstrative toward teammate Anthony Mason with a hug and a pat. And Patrick Ewing has answered in the best possible way. He had his legs tonight, and he had his entire game throughout this game.
Yes, 25 points on 9 of 13 shooting, 15 rebounds. Another outstanding performance for Anthony Mason. 13 points, 8 rebounds. Charles Oakley hitting the outside shot, 19 points, 9 rebounds. Again, the Knicks getting the balanced scoring. Rick Smits, you recall, got off to the fast start, then cooled off. Reggie Miller, invisible the first 3 quarters, 0 for his first 6, and then came on with a tear in the fourth quarter, but it was too late. This series tied at 3, and it's headed to Madison Square Garden on Sunday afternoon for a 7th and final game. We'll be right back.
Season tonight. However, Charles Smith, great drive down the line, smashes it home, a monster jam. Looked like he was hurt for a moment, able to rebound from that, and Smith back up and running. Once again, Rick Smith, though, was on fire early. He killed Ewing. 16 points, 16-foot jumper, I should say there. He ended up with 21 points, had 10 of the first 12 for the Pacers. They led at 12-10. Then the secret weapon, Charles Oakley, hit a three. Knicks led at 24-21 after one. Larry Brown, dazed and confused. How could Oakley score from there? Derek McKee on the offense. He wanted more from him, and he got more. McKee tied it at 31 apiece. Then the Knicks, an explosive action around their huddle. Charles Smith being ripped by Anthony Mason about some defensive assignments. That allowed the Pacers to get back in it, 43-42. The Knicks were down by one at halftime. Spike Lee taking the ribbing on the front row at Market Square Arena. On the outside, Derek Harper able to hit for the Knicks, and they started to open it up. They gave it to Ewing next. He goes inside with Starks hitting and then Ewing hitting. It was 63-53. Reggie Miller 0 for 6 through 3 quarters, and the Knicks able to really open the lead up to 72-63 on a three-pointer from Derek Harper. Then John Starks would hit a three-pointer for the Knicks, and they opened it up again after the lead had been cut down to 6 points. Reggie Miller had to sit on the bench for a while. He got it from here and finally hit a three after trying all night long. Miller had cut it down to 6, and the Knicks were in a little bit of trouble. But then a loose ball, Miller gets off a three, misses the shot. Davis with the rebound, back outside it goes. Another shot is missed by Indiana. Jackson gets the board, finds Miller. He gets fouled, and Indiana is back in it once again. But John Starks inside, finds Oakley, who was clutch all night. He had 19 points, did Charles Oakley. And the Knicks were able to hold on. Starks again gets loose from the defense of Miller. He hit a three, 84-76. The Knicks had the lead by 8, and that was about it. Inside, Starks went on a drive, got rejected. Mark Jackson running the break. And one last flurry for Indiana, however, was called off on a traveling violation by Reggie Miller. A technical ensued when he threw the ball away. Patrick Ewing sealed it right here in on Smits with the lead at just 3. That made it 87-82, and the Knicks win it 92-82, just as they did last year in Game 6 at Market Square Arena. 25 points for Patrick Ewing, 15 rebounds for Ewing as well. Mason ends up with 13 points and 8 rebounds, and Charles Oakley just a huge night offensively. 19 points, 9 rebounds, including 2 3-pointers. We'll go back to Market Square in just a few moments. Let's catch up on what else has been happening around the NBA. Golden State Warriors have named
at all in Indiana. We'll fix some technical things as we continue on the post-game report.
It seems like every game is a news story. You can't look back at the previous game.
Yes, the Knicks also, Marv, as we've seen throughout the season, with so many personalities, and they had a lot of them on display tonight, but the most positive ones were showing for the most part. And just a tremendously invigorating game. The psyche of Pat Riley spreading to his team: stay the course, stay tough, keep believing. And but tonight it was really basketball excellence for the most part by the Knicks. I thought their execution, their ball handling, the key shots. I mean, how could Larry Brown prepare for 2 3-point shots from Charles Oakley in the game, and some other fine play by other people, including Greg Anthony?
I think the mystery from the Indiana point of view, we touched on it during the telecast. What happened to Reggie Miller earlier in the game? Over the first 3 quarters, 6 shot attempts, 0 for 6 from the field. Now the Knicks may have done a very nice job on him. I'm sure that's part of it, but Reggie just didn't seem to be into it until the 4th quarter.
When he demanded the ball, when the Pacers set high picks for him, when they went to him, and he became a much hungrier player, as you say, and all of a sudden he becomes invincible. Either he gets the shot up or he gets to the foul line and he starts killing you. That was a mystery, and I'm sure a lot will be said about that tomorrow. But once again, it sets up Reggie for another explosive potential Sunday afternoon. But he'll have about 20,000 people beside John Starks chasing him on Sunday afternoon.
It will be a wild scene, but as we all know, Reggie seems to thrive in that atmosphere at Madison Square Garden.
Yes, Reggie does. As we said at the outset, Reggie and Rick Smits were really the 2 key guys. They didn't get the depth that they had been hoping for from other players, and that's what Larry Brown will once again be looking for on Sunday.
We'll send it to Al in a moment. Are you picking up Byron Scott at the players' entrance, take him to dinner, or you guys are just going to meet later on with the family?
We just had a one-shot day, Marv.
That was it. He had enough, or you had enough?
Enough of him.
I see. All right, let's get back to Al.
Okay, you two. Now we'll move along and finally get some post-game reaction from the Knicks locker room. Charles Smith, according to the numbers, did not play that well tonight. 6 points and only 1 rebound. but he did have that moment with Anthony Mason and was out there playing an awful lot of defense. Here's what he had to say in the Knicks locker room.
Last year's Game 6. Well, the one thing that, you know, we can rely on in this game is the fact that if it came down to us having a lead, you know, in the closing minutes of the game, that, you know, maybe they might tighten up or and miss a few shots, and they did miss a few shots. And I think that was key, and we were able to make some shots and get out of the little funk we were in during that fourth quarter, and that helped us.
You must feel like you're climbing quite a mountain here. You're not at the top yet, that's Sunday, but you're certainly committed to getting up there.
Yeah, we feel that this is a big mountain to climb. When we all started out and it was 3-1, we knew that it was going to be real tough. It's far from over. We got one more hurdle, and it's going to be the toughest yet, but it's good that it's on our home floor.
What stands out in your mind the last two games and your ability to hold off their runs and pull off a couple of victories in tough circumstances?
Fear of losing. I mean, the fear of just knowing that it'll be over. I think it runs rampant in this locker room, and everybody feels that way. You know, we don't want to pack our bags and go home yet. We don't want to go play golf yet, and I think that the fear of that is motivating us.
Tonight it seemed like you made it really difficult for them in terms of shutting down Reggie for 3 quarters and holding off Rick for a long period of time. It just about made it too difficult for them to come back.
Yeah, the one thing is, you know, we hung in there during the fourth quarter. You know, we had a lead, they made a nice surge, and I think from last time being here when we had a lead and they, you know, ended up getting the victory, I think that was a little experience factor for us where, you know, we got out of the shell shock of it all and came up with some key points and buckets.
Some keys for Sunday in that game to win this thing.
Everybody just got to come with it. Everybody on our team just got to play. I mean, there's no mystery. There's no, you know, adjustments on either team. You just got to come and play.
Just moments ago, Reggie Miller quietly made his way across the floor here at Market Square Arena, where he met with the media in the anti-press room behind the stands at the Knick end of the floor. Reggie Miller, again, was a huge part of the story heading into the fourth quarter. He had gone 0 for 6, then suddenly a 3 for 4 burst. Then the Knicks got up in his face, and he didn't get a good look the rest of the way. Here's what he had to say.
Probably could have been a little bit more aggressive. I think I just started to take the ball a little bit to the hole late in the fourth. Probably could have been a little bit more assertive in the first half. But Rick had it going, so. Not necessarily. I mean, you don't always have to take the ball off the dribble to be aggressive. You know, taking a couple dribbles and pulling up or creating shots for other players. Every time you're aggressive, you don't necessarily have to shoot the basketball. Maybe so. I always stayed in playoff basketball.
You know, it's perfect example of a team that simply, got up off the mat, and twice, but still it's not finished. And you got to get up and you can throw a right cross and left hook, but you still got to win. And we're a long way from winning. And it's a great win for us to be able to come here and deliver. But we have to go to another level on Sunday because it's going to be a real dogfight. And Patrick is getting healthier and healthier, and that's a good sign. I think we did a job, tonight on the boards, finally, and got the win. So we move on to Game 7. Simple as that.
Pat, yesterday you said tonight you thought Patrick might reach his apex. I think he did.
Yes. No, he had 9 boards at half, 15 points. It's very hard for him to get shots. He's starting, after, 6 games, back to the basket moves against, 7-4, and guys that are coming down, is not going to be something that's going to always be successful. So he started to face up on him a little bit more and take him off the dribble. So, he's just, over the course of the series, finding out what he can do to get a little better shots.
Frustration at each other at the end of the half in the locker room.
we got a wild bunch. Okay? We got a great wild bunch, and I'm not going to diffuse that. You know, I mean, that's how we've always been, and when we're like that, we're into it. You know, as long as each other can handle it. You know, the intensity and the emotion of this game tonight, everybody was checking everybody else, saying, get the job done. Get it done. No, we're not going to, you know, you're not going to let them score twice in a row on you. It doesn't make any difference as long as it's handled well, and that intensity was furious. He was just as wild as the rest of them. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, I mean, this was a do or die situation for us, and everybody was, you know, making sure everybody was into every possession. You know, I mean, that's the way it is with the team. You don't want anybody slacking off and having somebody, you know, take you to the bucket 2 or 3 times in a row, and that's good.
Regain your poise at 79-76 when you was throwing the ball in, or slipping the ball in inbound.
Jeff Van Gundy wrote me a note this morning, you know, as he does always before practice, and he had about 3 or 4 points on there, and one of the points was, he said, Coach, he said, what are we going to do when we're 8 points ahead with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter? He said, how are we going to react? Are we going to attack? Are we going to hold off and try to play the clock? And we got to that point. We had 16. And then we started to flatten out. We started to be cautious. We stopped attacking. We stopped defending. And the same thing that happened here the last game. And, you know, and then we got a couple of plays that went for us. Hubert hit a big 3. Oak hit a big 3. John hit a big 3. And they started to miss a few shots, and we gained control again. Because both teams were after one another. And they're just after one another. I mean, every possession was contested, and both teams played as hard as they could play. And it's not going to be a pretty game when it's like that.
Well, what do you know? The curtain was blue and Pat Riley was flesh-toned. That's exactly the way it was supposed to be. I shouldn't have opened my mouth. Everything was fine from the truck. As we continue postgame here at Market Square Arena, looks as though just about all the people have left now as the New York Knicks win this one by 10. And it really seems strange when it doesn't come down to the last second shot. And I'm thinking back to the trip to the movies yesterday when the Knicks